Hello, everybody. This is Debo with Debo's Film Reviews here, and this week's review will be Vampirella, directed by Jim Wynorski, starring Tulisa Soto as Vampirella, Richard Joseph Paul as Adam Van Helsing, and Roger Daltrey as Vlad, aka Rocker Jimmy Blood. Kind of fitting because Roger Daltrey, one of the greatest frontmen in rock, of especially the band The Who, it's an excellent standout. I mean, kind of surprised that his acting ain't as praised as his singing, because he could knock both out the park. And contrary to what the director said about how he wanted Julie Strain, I'd say Talisa Soto was the best bet because great actress in the 90s and late 80s. And of course, with some in terms of somewhat comic accuracy, was at least well, at least, uh, Talisa wore the cost somewhat accurate version of the costume, which of course, if they ever try to adapt that film now, that wouldn't lot. It'd be hard to get the costume right to where it would fly by today's standards. But of course, Talisa sort of knocked it out of the park with that one, like with Archie Daltrey in this movie. I mean, the song "Bleed for Me," absolute classic. I mean, definite standout from the cliche story of the movie was. I mean, the movie was pretty much just is space princess vampire avenges the murder of her father, played by Angus Scrimm, which was surprising. By like the third or fourth viewing, I picked up on that one in the after credits because I usually have a habit of not letting credit once credits roll. I turn the movie off, but usually exceptions to the rule being Marvel, of course. But yeah, that's unrelated to this. And of course, Believe for Me, excellent song and excellent acting chemistry between Talisa Soto and Richard Joseph Paul as Anna Van Helsing, who in the comic was her love interest in the Helsing organization. Kind of surprised they had did a crossover. The comic hadn't had a crossover with the Helsing anime. Cause I mean, come on, Death Battle. They ought to do at least a Vampirella or Alucard Death Battle, or Alucard versus or Vampirella versus Selene Death Battle. Yeah, I was just throwing them out there if you're watching Wisdom Boomstick. And of course, excellent with excellent, and of course, a lot of excellent action too. I mean, from the attack on Planet Draculon, and when Vampirella going down the various members of Vlad's gang, who takes down and finds out one that's named Trax, who's now a professor, one who does night shift lectures and all. After saving this nerd guy named Forey Ackerman, who was named after it was referenced after the comic creator Forrest J. Ackerman, who of course was an associate producer of the film. And of course, we all thank him for that one. And, of course, a lot of excellent action, especially with the beginning, then old fight between Vampirella and Trax. I meant not Drax the Destroyer or Hugo Drax the Moonraker. I meant Trax TR. That's what I meant to say. And of course, he got with. And how she impaled that guy, and then the whole team up with Adam Van Helsing and his organization of vampire fighting mercenaries. I mean, talk excellent use of gunplay between the between the Helsing guys and Vlad's brood. I mean, oof. Especially the Mexico scenes. Way it always stands out, and what was a somewhat excellent film. I mean, the soundtrack I've already touched on, which is, believe for me, epic. Felissa Soto's casting, perfect. Action, definite. Just various fights between where hand to hand vampire bites, which of course the vampires you gotta have the bites, and oof, and how perfect Felissa Soto was, because I'm gonna be honest, I was like, she was practically the sexiest vampire on screen until Kate Beckinsale came along. Although, hell, surprised there hadn't been if this movie had a lot more critical acclaim, they could have had it would have been talk about an epic crossover movie. That would have been to have Celine versus Vampirella, and man, and well, excellent acting by Richard Joseph Paul, who I'm going to say I only not really, be honest, I don't really know him for this movie, and a lot of the acting chemistry between Talisa and Roger. I mean, Roger Daltrey played a damn good villain in this movie. I mean, come on, Roger Daltrey. I mean, he was all kind of like, he was especially when he was riffing like that, like, "I'll get you, Raven Hair." I was referring to her as Raven Hair from the Vegas scene where he's predominantly, believe for me, and then before she's in the first encounter with that, when she thought she had to drop, and she tried to, they both had to go on a bite off, and then ooh, how he got his with where she just stuck a metal rod in him, and then he turned, and it just struck by lightning, and woof. And some excellent gunplay too, which was about right for '90s movie standards for that, and well, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. I'll give it about a 4, because it was low budget Roger Corman, and like I say, one of the best Roger Corman produced, and one of the best Corman films, I have to say, which don't which Corman, he's like Troma, he always brings the cheese, but this right here, Vampirella, definite good cheese. I would say about a 4 out of 5, because that's about as far as I could go with this one. I mean, if they ever do a reboot or readapt in this golden age of superhero films, they ought to do at least, or comic book films, I meant to say, they ought to at least bring Talisa Soto back for at least either as a villain or play Vampirella's mom, or some sort of cameo for the reboot, if they ever adapt one. But overall, 4 out of 5. I hope y'all liked it. Subscribe to my channel. Enjoy, and I enjoy my review as much as you enjoy this movie, which I actually found there's actually a good link on YouTube about it. YouTube, where you can actually watch the movie, which is how I found it from watching on a Mojo list. And that's all I got to say for now. I hope y'all liked it. Subscribe, yada, yada, yada. And I'll be dishing out reviews next week.